Hi everyone, so I wanted to do a video to show you how you can integrate PhantomBuster with pretty much any web app. This can be useful if you want to get the data that you scrape with PhantomBuster and send it somewhere else in another application such as a CRM or database or any other web app you might be using. Now, to make this possible, I'm going to be using make.com, which is a workflow automation platform, but the same principles would apply to pretty much any workflow automation platform, such as Zapier, Pipedream, N8N, whatever you are using. The principles should be the same. Now, the idea here is that we want to, let's find the Phantom. I'm going to use the LinkedIn company URL finder, right? So this is the Phantom that searches for the LinkedIn company URL of a list of companies. I'm going to provide it with a Google Sheet that I set up here that contains 3 website domains of companies that I want to find the LinkedIn URLs of. I'm going to copy the link of this sheet after I publicly share it, and I'm going to paste it right there. I'm going to save, and then here, oh, okay, it took me out. Let me go back to setup. Okay, here's the important bit, advanced settings. What you want to do in the advanced settings of your Phantom in order to connect it to an integration platform such as make.com is you want to go to the Webhooks tab, and here you want to paste the URL of a webhook that you create on your integration platform. Now, I'm not going to go into the technical details of what a webhook is and how it works behind the scenes. That's not the point of this video. The idea is that a webhook on a high level is a resource that you can send a notification to so it can be captured by a third-party platform. And in this case, the third-party platform that will process the data is make.com. So I want to go here to Make. I created a new scenario, or in other words, a new automation. I'm going to click on this bubble, and I'm going to search for webhooks. Click on the webhooks, and then I'm going to create a new custom webhook. I'm going to click Add. I'm going to name my webhook something like PhantomBuster LinkedIn Company URL Finder. Try to be descriptive, especially if you're going to be creating many of these. Click Save, and here we have a new webhook URL. I'm going to copy that webhook, so copy address to clipboard, and I'm going to paste it right there. So that's how now I connected this Phantom to my Make scenario, which means that whenever this Phantom is done with its execution and it retrieves the data that it's supposed to retrieve, it will take that data and it will send it to this resource. It will send it to this webhook that will trigger this, this automation. Now you'll see that here there's a little spinning icon, which means that Make is waiting for something. And what it's waiting for is for some data to be sent to this webhook in order to determine its data structure. So this is something that you always need to do. You need to basically run the automation, run the Phantom, right, to retrieve some data, send it to the webhook, and show Make what the data looks like, right? I'm trying to simplify it, make it simple for you to understand. You show Make what it looks like, so it understands what kind of data it should be expecting, and then once it understands what data it should be expecting, then you will be able to automatically trigger this scenario, retrieve that data, and send it anywhere you want. So let's do that. I have pasted my webhook there. I'm gonna save settings. I'm gonna save the Phantom, save and close. Okay, it's ready to go. I'm gonna launch it. It's running, 33%, 66, 100, okay. So in a few seconds, the data should be sent to the webhook. There we go. So the data structure has been successfully determined. We click OK. Now we're ready to go, right? We're ready to, the Phantom has been connected to this scenario successfully. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna run this scenario. So now the webhook is waiting for new data. I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna run it once again. So now that the data structure has been determined and Make knows what kind of data to expect, this should work as expected. Okay, so it's done. Let's go here. There we go. So the webhook has retrieved some data. So we have the agent ID. So this is actually the ID of the Phantom. The agent name, which is the name of the Phantom. The container ID, which I think is the ID of the execution. So every execution of the Phantom has a unique ID. The script name, script. So we have a bunch of information about the actual Phantom. The important bit is this result object, which is actually empty. Why is it empty? Oh, I know why it's empty. It's empty because I executed this Phantom twice in a row, and it had already retrieved these 3 results on the first execution. So on the second execution, it did not get any new results. That's why on the webhook, no data was sent, because there was no new results, basically. So what I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna add 3 more companies here. Okay, so I'm gonna run the scenario again. I'm gonna execute the Phantom. It should now get 3 new results, and those results should be sent to the webhook. 33%, 66, one more. There we go. So we now have a result object with some data, right? So this is the data that has been retrieved by the Phantom on this particular execution. So now that's the first step of this process, right? We have integrated the Phantom with Make, and we have successfully managed to retrieve the data that was scraped by the Phantom inside the Make scenario. So now the next step is to actually take this data and send it to any web app that we want. So how do we do this? Well, in order to send data to another app, we first need to create a connection with it. So here we would click on the plus icon, and then we would select the app that we want to send the data to from this list. And you know, this totally depends on your use case, like which app do you want to actually send the data to. We could send it, for example, to Airtable. Airtable is a database. Here I have a table that I set up where I have a name column, a website column, and a LinkedIn company URL column. So here I can populate records with the data that my Phantom has extracted. This is one example. Or I could create, let's say, company records on my HubSpot CRM, right? So it really depends. Like I can do anything I want with this data. I can send it anywhere I want. So let me show you these 2 examples. With Airtable, so I would select the Airtable app from the list here, and then what I want to automate here is the creation of records. So when you're sending data to an app, you need to understand like what is the actual resource you're trying to create inside that app. You know, is it a set of records? Is it a set of companies? Like you need to actually figure out inside the app what task are you trying to automate. And then once you understand what task you're trying to automate, you need to find the relevant module, or in other words, the action inside the Make integration of that app that will automate that task for you. So with Airtable, my goal is to create records, right? So these things here, these are records, and populate each record with the company information that my Phantom has retrieved. So I'm going to select the create a record module. Then I will create the first step when you're connecting any app with Make, you need to create a connection with that app, right? So you need to give authorization to Make to perform actions on your behalf on that app. So you need to create a connection. So I would click on Add here. I would do an OAuth connection. This will obviously be different for any app that you want to integrate, but this is how it works with Airtable. So I would select my base here, grant access. And once I have my connection, I can select the base, which I want to add the data to. Then I will select the table 1. And then here is where I need to pass the values of those columns that I showed you earlier. Now you might be thinking, well, with PhantomBuster, I'm retrieving the information of multiple companies. Here, I'm only given 3 fields, right? I'm given I'm given the column names, but I can only populate these once. How can I do this? How can I create multiple records? And the answer is, if you want to create multiple records, you would need to execute this multiple times. So the way we're going to do that, we've actually first, so let me backtrack a little bit. If I go here to the webhook data once again, all this data is not very usable at the moment because it comes in string format. And you can think of string format like a piece of text almost, right? So it's a piece of, you can think of this as it's one large piece of text where all the data is kind of like jumbled up together. And unfortunately, this format is not very useful in Make. You can't really do much with this format. So what we need to do, there's an intermediate step here. We need to convert this data into JSON. And I'm not going to get into the technical stuff again, like what is JSON, and you can think of it as a data format, right? So in order to convert something to JSON, you would click Add New. You can click here, Add New Module. You would search for JSON. And then you select the parse JSON module. So parse basically means take the data, which in this case I'm going to pass it that string, that text with the results, and convert it into JSON. So like figure out what the data structure should be and convert it into JSON. So I'm going to pass the value to be the result object, right? So I can. When you click on a field, you can see the data that has been retrieved by previous modules in the scenario. And then in this case, the previous module is the webhook. So I can see all the data here. And the one I'm interested in is the result object. So I'm going to pass it right there. And this will take this string and it will convert it into actual JSON. So I'm not going to connect this yet. I'm going to keep it unlinked. And I'm going to run the scenario once just to show you the result here. So let me go back here. Let's execute this. Oh, wait, I'm running into the same issue again. So I need to add new companies to the list. But actually, I'm not going to do that. I'm gonna do something else just to keep this more simple. I'm going to go to Setup for my Phantom here. I'm going to go to Advanced Settings. And I'm going to change the file management settings to delete previous files. So what this means is that every time the Phantom is executed, it will actually delete all the previous results and it will rescrape everything, right? So this means that every time I'm going to get a new set of results and I'm going to have something to send to my webhook. So I'm just going to do that. Launch. Okay, so the webhook got the data. And then it got sent to the parse JSON module. And if I click here on the bubble, you can see that now the data is in a much more readable format, right? So this is the exact same data that we had in this long string, but is now parsed. And Make has actually converted this into bundles of data. And what a bundle is basically the way that a bundle behaves is all the actions that I will now have after this module will be executed once for each bundle. So now, basically, the if I attach this create a record action to this module, what it means is that the create a record action will be executed once for each one of these modules. So it will be executed a total of 6 times. And that's exactly what I want, because if you remember, here I can only pass the data of one record, right? So I will need to execute this module a total of 6 times if I want to add, if I want to create a record for each one of those company results. So if I click now here, you will see that I'm able to map the data from the JSON module. So for the name of the company, I'm just going to select the title. And then for website, that will be my query, because I passed the website as the query for the scraping. And then for company, LinkedIn company URL, which is what I wanted the Phantom to find, I'm going to pass this. Right? So let's see. So save. I'm going to run it. And then if I go to my Phantom and execute it again, once this is done with its execution, you will see that this will be executed once, this will be executed once, but then this will be executed a total of 6 times. And each time it gets executed, the data of the next bundle in the list will be sent to this module, right? So not only does it get executed, but each time, there we go, 3, 4, 5, 6. Each time it gets executed, the data of the current bundle is being passed to the module. So now if I go here, there we go. So 6 records have been created. And these are the ones I created earlier as an example. So delete those. You see, 6 records, each one with the data of the bundle. That's it, right? So now we can also do this with other apps, right? So I'm not going to show you the next example, which is with HubSpot. So I'm going to unlink the Airtable, and I'm going to now send the data to HubSpot. And in this case, my goal is to create new company records. So in HubSpot, in the HubSpot CRM, you can have companies, and you can have contacts and deals and tickets. My goal is to create company records. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here. I'm going to add another module to my scenario. I'm going to search for the HubSpot app. And I'm going to find the one that creates companies. There we go. Create a company. I already created a connection, so I'm going to select that one. Oh, I need to extend the permissions. So let's see. This, choose account. Okay. Yes, connect app. Perfect. And then here in the proper, so you see, like every app is different. So you need to figure out, like, how do I pass the data to the right place inside my app? So in HubSpot, each company record has properties. And okay, so the idea here is that I need to create a property for every data point that I want to add. And I want to add a company name. I want the value of that company name to be the title element that I'm getting from my JSON module. Then I want to add another property. I want to add the domain. So let's search for domain, company domain name. I want that to be the query value. And then finally, I also want to have, let's see where we're going to store the LinkedIn. Does it have a LinkedIn? Oh yeah, LinkedIn company page. Cool. And I want that to be the LinkedIn URL. Perfect. So that's the HubSpot Create a Company module setup. And once again, same idea. We have the bundles. Each bundle will execute the subsequent module once, and actually it will execute all the subsequent. So if I had more modules, more actions in my scenario here, all of them will be executed once for each bundle. That's how it works. And the data of each bundle will be passed to the action each time, and a company record will be created. So let's see this in action. So I'm going to run the scenario. launch the Phantom, and it won't be 6 each time. You know, like if I had 50 companies here, then this would create 50 bundles and it would create 50 company records, right? So it's all dynamic. It's not, nothing is fixed, you know. Running 66%, 83, 100%. We got an error. I think though that some of them have been created. Let's see. Yeah, so some have been created, but then there was an error somewhere. Let's see what the error. Okay, so the error was in the 5th operation, and it was because property values were not valid. Okay. So the Y Combinator domain. Okay, so I had like a slash at the end there. That's why it caused an error. Let's just fix that quickly and rerun it. So run again and then launch the Phantom. Okay, so 6 records have been created. If I go here and reload. All right, so some records were recreated because I rerun the automation, and I already in the previous run I already managed to create 4 of these company records. So now they were recreated, and I'm going to show you how to handle such cases. You know, it's good that this happened because it might happen to you. So I want to show you how you can handle this. So the way to handle this is to actually check if a record exists, if a company record exists before creating it, right? And the way to do that is by searching for an existing record. So I'm going to add a new module here. I'm going to do HubSpot, and I want to search for CRM objects. I'm going to select my connection, extend the permissions again, because now I'm searching for data, so it needs to have additional permissions. Okay, and the object type that I'm searching for is companies. I want to search if a company record already exists. So output properties, I don't know what that is. Oh yeah, that's the data. I don't want to output any data. I just want to filter. I want to find companies that have a specific domain. The domain should be equal to the query value. So if a company record with a domain name equal to my query value, which is the domain I'm passing to PhantomBuster, already exists, I want to retrieve that company. And I want the limit here to be 1 because I'm only interested in 1 company. And I'm going to run it, rerun my Phantom here. So it should find a company record for every single company result that I'm getting from PhantomBuster because they already exist. And yes, I know that for some there's 2, and I set the limit to 1, but I just want to see that there is at least 1 record. That's what I'm interested in. That's why I set the limit to 1. Let's just see. Okay, 100% executed. Okay, so let's see. Operation 1, it found, so here in the output, we can see that it found a company. Operation 2, output, it found a company. Operation 3, it found 1. Operation 4, it found 1. Operation 5, it found 1. Operation 6, it found 1. Great. So what I want to do in the case that it does find a company, I want to update that company. I want to update the information of the record. I don't want to create it from the beginning. In the case it does not find one though, I want to create a record. So to do this, I'm going to use what we call a router. I'm going to attach it there. A router can have multiple paths. So I can send the automation down a different path based on, sorry about that, let me remove that Airtable, unlink. Unlink. I want to send the automation down a different path based on specific conditions. So on one path, I want to be creating a company record, and on the other path, I want to be update a company. Now, when do I want to update a company? To set up a filter for the path, I need to click on that little tool icon there, set up a filter. And I'm going to say here as a label, which can be anything you want, I'm going to say company exists. So if the company exists, I want to update it. And on the condition, I'm going to say, I'm going to click there and I'm going to get all the data elements from the search for CRM object module. I'm going to say if the total number of bundles, or in other words, the total number of results that this module retrieves is, and here I'm going to add a number operator, is greater than 0, which means that a record for that company exists, then I want to update it. On this path, I want to have the condition company does not exist. And I'm going to say that if the total number of bundles that this module retrieves is greater, numeric operator, greater than 1, then it does not, not greater than 1, equal to 0, right? If it's equal to 0, then it means that the company record does not exist, therefore I want to create it. That's right, okay. Now, this is already set up, so I'm passing the company name to be the title of the JSON data, the query to be the domain name, and the LinkedIn URL to be the company, LinkedIn company page. So that's set up. Then I just need to set up the updated company module. And the only difference here is that I need to pass a company ID. So since I'm updating a company record that already exists, I need to tell this module which is that company record. And the way to identify a company record is by the ID. And the ID is retrieved by this module here, because this module has already searched for a company record. It has found, in this case, a company record. Therefore, it knows the ID of that record. There it is, right? So I'm going to add that there. And then in the properties will be the same as the create a company module. So company name, which will be, I'm going all the way down to find my JSON. It will be the title, add item. I'm going to add the domain, which will be the query value, and then one more, LinkedIn company page, which will be the LinkedIn URL. Okay, save. And now, let's see, let's do something. I'm gonna delete, I'm gonna delete everything except from Microsoft. I'm going to delete all of these. Where do I delete them? Oh, delete. There we go. 12 records, delete. Okay, so we only have Microsoft. Therefore, this path should be executed once, and then this one should be executed 5 times. So let's see if that works. Launch. There we go. Once and 5 times. And if we go to companies now and we reload, and there we go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all of them different. And we can run it one more time to see that now all the companies should be updated and none of them should be created. Let's run another test. Perfect. We reload, and all of them should be there. None of them are duplicates. So that's how it's done, right? So I showed you how to get data from PhantomBuster into a make scenario, right? So you just create a webhook, you attach it to your Phantom Advanced settings here under webhooks. Whenever the Phantom dance finishes its execution, it will trigger the scenario. It will pass the data into a result object here, which is a text. Therefore, you need to convert it into JSON using the parse JSON module. And then once you have that, which will be in bundles, which makes it very easy to then perform an action multiple times in order to create records into in another app of your choice. You just find out how that app is structured, from a data perspective, and then use the most relevant module, the most relevant action in Make to create those records in the app of your choice, right? I showed you 2 examples here, so hopefully you get the idea. If you want to see any other examples with a specific app, just let me know in the comments below. If it gets enough interest, I might do a video on it. But yeah, I hope this video was helpful. Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions and any suggestions for videos you would like to see in the future. Thank you so much for watching.